Spider-Man's fall. A story of defeat. The city never slept, and neither did Peter Parker. For 3 years, he had been Spider-Man, the web-slinging guardian of New York. He had faced thieves, mobsters, and super-powered criminals, always emerging victorious. But tonight would be different. Tonight, he would learn that some battles cannot be won. It started with fire raining from the sky. Peter was studying for his chemistry final when his phone exploded with emergency alerts. Multiple explosions across Manhattan, the Empire State Building, Grand Central Station, Times Square. All within minutes of each other. He tore off his clothes, already wearing his suit underneath, and swung into the chaos. The first sight was devastated. Flames licked up the sides of buildings, while people screamed and ran through smoke-filled streets. Spider-Man worked frantically, pulling people from rubble, webbing up falling debris, guiding first responders to trap survivors. His muscles ached and his web shooters were running low, but he pushed on. Then he heard it. That laugh, high-pitched, maniacal, cutting through the sirens and screams like a knife through silk. Spider-Man. "Oh, Spider-Man! Come out and play." Peter's blood ran cold. Norman Osborn. The Green Goblin, his greatest enemy. The one villain who truly terrified him. The man who knew his secret identity, who had threatened everyone he loved. They'd fought before. Brutal encounters had left both of them broken and bleeding, but always ended in stalemate. The Goblin swooped down on his glider, a nightmarish figure silhouetted against the burning skyline. His orange eyes gleamed behind the grotesque mask, and his purple and green suit seemed to shimmer in the firelight. "Surprised to see me, Spider?" The Goblin cackled. "You shouldn't be. Did you really think our last encounter would be our final dance?" "Oh no, my boy. I've been planning this for months." "While you were playing hero, saving cats from trees and stopping petty thieves, I was preparing your doom." Spider-Man shot a web at the Goblin, but Norman dodged with practiced ease. "What do you want, Osborn?" Want? The Goblin's voice rose to a shriek. "I want to show this city that their precious Spider-Man is nothing. A fraud. A child playing dress-up. I want to break you, Peter Parker. Body, mind, and spirit." Peter's heart hammered in his chest. He needed to lead the Goblin away from civilians. "You want me? Then catch me." He swung away, heading toward the harbor where fewer people would be at risk. The Goblin followed, cackling and hurling pumpkin bombs that exploded around Spider-Man as he swung. One detonated close enough to singe his suit and send him tumbling through the air. He caught himself with a web, but his shoulders screamed in pain. They fought across the rooftops of Lower Manhattan. Spider-Man was fast, his spider sense warning him of danger. But the Goblin was relentless and strategic. Every move Peter made seemed anticipated. Every counter had a... It was as if Norman knew exactly what he would do before he did it. "You're wondering how I'm staying ahead of you," the Goblin taunted, circling on his glider. "I've studied you, Peter. Every fight, every move, every weakness. I know you better than you know yourself." A pumpkin bomb exploded at Peter's feet, and he leaped away, but his spider sense suddenly screamed a warning from behind. He twisted, but not fast enough. The Goblin's glider slammed into his back, razor-sharp wings cutting through his suit and into flesh. Peter cried out and fell, catching a fire escape 3 stories down. Blood soaked through his costume. "First blood to me," the Goblin crowed. "How does it feel, Spider, to realize you're outmatched, out-hot, out of your depth?" Peter gritted his teeth against the pain and launched himself back into the fight. He webbed the Goblin's glider, trying to yank Norman off. But the villain triggered a mechanism that sent an electrical charge through the webbing. The shock traveled up the web and into Peter's hands, making him convulse and drop. He barely managed to shoot another web before hitting the ground, swinging weakly to a nearby rooftop. His hands were numb, his back was bleeding, and exhaustion was setting in. He had been fighting for over an hour, first saving people from the explosions, now battling the Goblin. His web fluid was nearly gone. Getting tired, Spider, the Goblin landed on the rooftop, stepping off his glider with theatrical flair. Good. Because now comes the best part. You see, those explosions weren't random. They were strategic. I drew you out, wore you down, and led you exactly where I wanted you. He gestured around them. This building, do you know what's beneath us? Peter's spider sense suddenly flared, stronger than ever before. He looked down at the roof beneath his feet and saw the barely visible outline of dozens of devices attached to the building's structure. A trap, he whispered. A masterpiece, the goblin roared. Enough explosives to bring down this entire building and the three around it. And you, my dear Spider-Man, are standing at ground zero. You can try to run, but you're wounded and slow. You can try to stop it, but there are too many charges in no time. Or ... double quotes. The goblin's voice dropped to a sinister whisper. You can try to fight me and doom us both. You're insane. You'll die too, perhaps. But I'm willing to take that risk. Are you? The goblin spread his arms wide. What's it going to be, hero? Will you abandon your duty to survive? Or will you die trying to be the hero this city doesn't deserve? Peter's mind raced. He couldn't defuse all the bombs in time. If he ran, the building would collapse. But it was a commercial building and it was late. Maybe it was empty, but maybe it wasn't. His spider sense was screaming at him, warning of imminent death. He made his choice. I won't let you win. Peter lunged at the goblin, using the last of his strength. They collided in a fury of fists and rage. The goblin was strong, enhanced by his formula, and Peter was wounded and exhausted. But he fought anyway, because that's what heroes did. They grappled across the rooftop, trading brutal blows. Peter's spider sense guided his movements, but his body was too slow to keep up. The goblin's fist connected with his ribs, and Peter felt something crack. He gasped, stumbling back. Your spider sense can see the danger, the goblin snarled, pressing his advantage. But your broken body can't save you from it. A knee to the stomach doubled Peter over. A double-handed blow to his back sent him to the ground. The goblin's boot pressed down on Peter's chest, pinning him. This is how it ends, Spider-Man. Not with a bang, but with a whimper. You, crushed beneath my heel. While the city you tried to save crumbles around you. Peter reached weakly for his web shooters, but they were empty. He tried to lift the goblin's foot, but he had no strength left. His vision was blurring, his body screaming in agony. The goblin reached into his satchel and pulled out a remote detonator. Goodbye, Peter Parker. Thank you for the dance. Wait, Peter choked out. The people. Is the building empty? The goblin tilted his head, considering. Then he laughed, cold and cruel. Does it matter? You've already failed either way. He pressed the button. The world exploded. Peter felt the rooftop disintegrate beneath him. The sound was deafening, a cacophony of destruction that overwhelmed his senses. He was falling through fire and debris, tumbling through collapsing floors. His spider sense was useless now. Everything was danger. Everything was death. Something massive struck his head. His vision went white, then black. He couldn't tell which way was up. Concrete and steel rained down around him, on him, burying him. He tried to breathe, but choked on dust and smoke. Then, mercifully, darkness took him. Peter woke to agony. Every part of his body screamed in pain. He was buried under rubble, trapped in a pocket of space barely large enough to breathe. His left arm was pinned beneath a steel beam. His legs were buried in concrete. He could taste blood in his mouth. Above him, through gaps in the debris, he could see night sky and hear sirens. How long had he been unconscious? Minutes. Hours. He tried to move, but cried out in pain. His ribs were definitely broken, possibly his arm and legs too. His healing factor would help, but not quickly enough. Help, he tried to call out, but his voice was barely a whisper. Someone ... help ... but no one came. The rescuers were focused on the other buildings, on the civilians who might be trapped. They didn't know Spider-Man was buried here. They didn't even know to look. And worse, through the gaps in the rubble, Peter could see something that made his blood run cold. The Goblin's glider, hovering above the destruction, and on it, Norman Osborn, maskless. Now his scarred face twisted in triumph. "Can you see me down there, Peter?" Norman's voice echoed through the ruins. "Can you see your failure? I survived, of course. I always do, but you're finished." Norman pulled out a phone and took a photograph of the destruction. The Daily Bugle is going to have a field day with this. Spider-Man. The menace who caused the deaths of 3 people who were working late in this building. "Oh yes, Peter. There were people here, and you failed to save them." Peter's heart shattered. 3 people. Dead because of him. Because he chose to fight instead of running. Because he wasn't fast enough, smart enough, strong enough. "And don't worry about your loved ones," Norman continued. "I've decided to let them live. For now. Because keeping them alive, letting them see what you've become, will hurt you more than killing them ever could. They'll see the news. They'll know you failed. They'll know people died because of you." The glider rose higher. "Enjoy your tomb. If you survive, and I hope you do, remember this night. Remember that I beat you. Completely. Utterly. And know that I can do it again, anytime I want." The glider disappeared into the night sky. And Peter was alone with his failure. He lay there in the darkness, broken and defeated, while above him, the city mourned. The sirens wailed like the cries of ghosts. The flames painted the sky orange and red, and somewhere, Norman Osborn was laughing. Peter had always believed that with great power came great responsibility. He had taken on that burden gladly, thinking his powers made him capable of protecting everyone. But tonight, he learned a horrible truth. Sometimes, responsibility wasn't enough. Sometimes, power wasn't enough. Sometimes, heroes lost. It took rescue workers 6 hours to find him. By then, the news had spread across the city. 3 dead, dozens injured, millions in damage, and Spider-Man either dead or responsible, depending on which version you believed. When they pulled him from the rubble, the paramedics gasped at his injuries. Compound fracture of the left arm, both legs broken. 4 cracked ribs, 1 dangerously close to his lung. Severe concussion. Internal bleeding. He was loaded into an ambulance, and conscious. Again, while police officers discussed whether they should arrest him if he survived. In his hospital bed, trapped in traction and bandages, Peter Parker stared at the ceiling and replayed the night over and over. Every mistake, every moment he was too slow, every choice that led to this catastrophe. The faces of the 3 people who died haunted him. He didn't even know their names yet, but he would learn them. He would carry them with him forever. His Aunt May sat beside his bed, tears streaming down her face, holding his unbroken hand. She didn't know he was Spider-Man. She thought her nephew had been caught in the explosion while trying to photograph it for the Bugle. Another lie he had to maintain. Even now. "You're going to be okay," she whispered. "You're going to heal." But Peter knew better. His body would heal. His bones would mend. But something inside him had broken that couldn't be fixed. The Green Goblin had won, not just the battle, but something more fundamental. He had broken Spider-Man's spirit. Outside, the city went on. But it was a city that now questioned its hero. A city that wondered if Spider-Man was truly a savior or a danger. And somewhere in that city, Norman Osborn smiled, knowing he had accomplished what no other villain had managed. He had defeated. The web-slinger would return to action eventually. His sense of responsibility wouldn't allow him to quit, but he would be changed, haunted by this night, by the knowledge that he had met his match and lost. Every time he swung through the city, he would remember the laughter of the Green Goblin. Every time he saved someone, he would think of the 3 he couldn't save. Victory had always come with a price. Peter Parker had learned that lesson the night his Uncle Ben died. But tonight, he learned that defeat came with a price too, and it was one he would be paying for the rest of his life. The Green Goblin had won, and Spider-Man would never be the same. This is the story of a hero's fall, a reminder that even the strongest can be broken, even the fastest can be too slow, and even the bravest can know fear. Spider-Man had faced many villains, but the Green Goblin proved to be the one he couldn't overcome, not this time. Perhaps not ever. And in the darkness of his hospital room, Peter Parker closed his eyes and wondered if he would ever truly be Spider-Man again.